Hey everyone, today is going to be a short video recap of the Genesis lesson that we missed because it was my fault. I was not able to record it last Thursday, but here it is and it's going directly to your messages. I will also be uploading it to YouTube, okay? So before we begin, I'm going to say our prayer. Open my eyes that I may see wonderful things in your law. Psalm 119:18. Hopefully that's stuck with you if you've been watching the videos. So now Genesis 16 is after chapter 15, which talks about God's covenant with Abram and how Abram is the first time that he's basically showing such thing as faith, which is something that we as Christians now practice, and we very much speak a lot about faith. We have a lot of music that talks about faith, a lot of Bible verses that talk about faith with the New Testament, but in the Old Testament that was not as common. So yeah, God makes another covenant with Abram and his children. He's like, I'm gonna be your shield, I'm gonna be your fortress, like I'm gonna be everything for you. And this is following the promise that he was going to, that his descendants were going to be very, very, very many. Now in chapter 16, Sarai and Abram kind of mess up again, and well, they mess up kind of big time. And so basically Abram and Sarai have the promise that they're going to have a lot of descendants, but that obviously needs to start with having kids, and they can't have kids. And so from another source I read, from like a Bible history source, I read that it was probably like 10 years. Like it was a few years after God's promise to Abram that he was going to have a lot of kids. So Sarai and Abram get kind of desperate, and yeah, they just really want to have kids. It's very important to them, very important to their culture. So basically what Sarai does is she makes her slave Hagar, she's an Egyptian slave, she makes her have a kid with Abram, and they have a kid, and his name is Ishmael. Now this is normal for them. If you can't have kids, then your slave can have kids with your husband, but usually she is preferred over you, even though you're like the real wife. And so they have problems. Obviously she delivers Ishmael. They have problems, so Hagar runs away in this chapter, but then God's like, no, you don't run away. Obviously what they did was wrong, but Ishmael's gonna kind of have a curse for the rest of his life, and yeah, just don't run away. And so another thing that I wanted to point out before I finish this is Hagar is the first person to name God, and this is in Genesis 16:13. And Ishmael means God hears. So Ishmael means God hears. Some other things I wrote down. Sarai cannot have children. Hagar, her slave, is up to have a child with Abram. Sarai and Hagar are having a problem. Hagar can be the main wife because she gave a child. Ishmael his curse is that he will be in country with others at all times. And so basically that was the story of Hagar and Ishmael. So they return. And then we have the next chapter, which we will study not this Thursday, but the next, because this Thursday I have a special video that will explain some of the cultures and ideas. So I hope you learned something new in Genesis 16. So just remember, Genesis 16, Hagar and Ishmael, and the curse.